Hey y'all, I'm Tracy. Welcome to Just Dig It Farms. Today's video is in collaboration with Homesteaders of America's Garden Tour Collaboration 2020. Jean and I are super excited to be a part of this collaboration. It is just a great idea and a great thing that Amy Fuel over at Homesteaders of America has put together. And it's so neat to see different people growing different things in different areas because of the zones and the different weather and everything. And it's really awesome because you can get a lot of great information from a lot of different YouTubers and homesteaders who are actually doing it. That's the best people to learn from, are the ones who are actually doing what they're talking about, because they know. So all you have to do is go to Homesteaders of America, click on the Garden Tour Collaboration, and go into her description, and there's a list of all the different YouTube homesteaders that have a video for this week. So y'all go check them out when you finish watching my video. So right now I am pruning some lower leaves of these tomatoes. I picked up a few tomatoes at work the other day. I got a couple of Arkansas Travelers and 2 Cherokee Purples. I'm gonna go ahead and get those in the ground today because I still have time. I'm in Central Alabama Zone 8 and my first frost day is not until November the 11th. So I still have time to get a couple of little late summer crops in. So I think that I can get these tomatoes in today and maybe be able to get a few tomatoes out of it before the frost comes. Not really anything to can or preserve, but just to continue having some fresh tomatoes to eat as long as I can. So let's go take a tour of what's going on in the garden. First of all, let's look at this cottage garden. Look at these limelight hydrangeas. They just keep on showing out. It's 90-something degrees out here, and they really don't get water. I haven't really watered these at all this year, just whatever rain they've gotten. And look how beautiful they are. They just keep on showing out. And they're beautiful in arrangements too. All right, let's look at what's taking place in the Potager garden. My lavenders are budding up nicely. I'm gonna have a lot of nice lavender wands to harvest. I'm excited about that. I love lavender. I use it for a lot of different things. I love lavender. It smells so good. Smells so good. There's my catmint. Look at all the bees on this catmint. Pollinators love this catmint. Okay, in this bed, I've got a few tomatoes hanging on. Some of them look bad, but I'm trying to get tomatoes as long as I can. And I've got these few little empty spots here is where I'm going to put those Cherokee Purples and Arkansas Travelers. Try to prolong my season a little bit. But my marigolds look really pretty. And you can see right here, I just put out some mushroom compost. I kind of hoed up the soil a little bit and put down some new fresh compost. And yesterday I planted some rutabaga seeds. I'm excited about my rutabagas this fall and winter. This spring was the first time I grew them, and we love rutabagas. I loved growing them. Here's more of my tomatoes. These are mostly my Romas and my little cherries and sun golds. And they're still producing. Basil, I've got a lot of basil going on here in the garden. I've got to get my pesto made. This is my anise. Smells good. Smells like licorice. Bees love it. Pollinators love this. And it's great to make anise hyssop tea. So you can see right here, I brought my rutabaga seed all the way down in front of that tomato row and behind this tomato row. And I'm hoping that the tomatoes are gonna kind of block it and shade it from that hot afternoon sun. I've got a little squash, a summer squash that kind of volunteered somehow and is coming up. So I'm gonna try to see if we might end up with a few more little squash for fresh eating. I don't think so, because I see a lot of squash bugs on it. When I planted all of my squash right here, this is where all my summer squash was, right in this area. And when I planted it, I did my squash hills with borage and nasturtiums and radish seeds. I put those in every squash hill. I had no squash bugs. I had no squash vine borers. I had awesome squash harvest this year. Now this one is just here all by itself, and I see a lot of little squash bugs. But it's also later. I had planted my squash a little early this year just to try to avoid some of that pest pressure. And this squash is later, so we're getting a lot of pest pressure right now. These are little ground cherry tomatoes. And that is my basil that I've just let flower for all my pollinators. Here's my basil that I'm gonna be making pesto out of. And right here, I just planted some more zinnia seeds. Zinnia and borage is right here. And right here, I just put some calendula seeds here. So I'm hoping those come up and do well. I'd like to have more calendula flowers this fall. Let's look at this bed. So here is where I had my borage and my calendula here. I had a big patch of it right here that I harvested from. But as it gets hot, those play out. But as the season cools off and we get into fall, they'll do well. So I've re-sown some zinnia seed here and borage seed here. And this is my black-eyed Susan vine. Isn't this sweet? I got two different ones here. The orange yellow and the white one. And this is a footboard to an old iron bed that I got in an antique sale. And I just have this growing on it. You can kind of see the footboard right there. But I have this black-eyed Susan vine growing on it, and it is so beautiful. And I've watched so many pollinators here. It's awesome. I love this black-eyed Susan vine. And then here's my zinnias, which I don't know how you could have a vegetable garden without zinnias. They're so beautiful. And butterflies are everywhere, and honeybees and carpenter bees and bumblebees, and just so much life right here. So beautiful. This is my jungle of peas and sweet potatoes and morning glories. Morning glories have seemed to taken over this little bed. But I think I've got one more good little harvest of purple hull peas here. So I'm gonna harvest those, and then I'm gonna start pulling these out, pulling out these morning glories, getting to my sweet potatoes that are in there somewhere. There's a row of them right through there. I had ran out. That whole bed over there was designated for sweet potatoes only and pole beans. And I ran out of space, so I did a row of sweet potatoes here. And they're in there somewhere. I've just got to find them. You can see this morning glory climbing up my little teepee here. It's actually really pretty. But these things are so invasive for us. I might leave that one there for a little while on that teepee. We'll see. But right here, I cleaned this area out a few weeks ago and replanted cosmos, zinnias, calendula, and I think I planted some cleomes. I think they were in the mix. But I thought I'd just see, I should have plenty of time to get some more flowers here. This is my medicinal herb garden. That's my Hanser rose, which I love. It's awesome for rose hips. Super great for rose hips. And I did not deadhead this rose as it's been finishing off its big wave of show. I haven't been deadheading it. Look at the bees in there. Because I'm trying to get these rose hips early. I'm getting ready to make up some elderberry cough syrup with all the elderberries I've been harvesting. And I want to add rose hips. So I'm trying to let these rose hips get developed a little bit so I can use them. High in vitamin C. So I definitely want to add them to my elderberry syrup. Here's some. You can see, maybe you can see those. Let's see, right there, you can see them starting to develop little rose hips. I'm excited about that. There's my lemongrass, anise hyssop. Here is Basie's blueberry rose, which makes good rose hips. Horehound, which is struggling a little bit. Pineapple sage, echinacea. My lemongrass is looking really good. I'm gonna get out here and harvest it so I can dry it and have lemongrass tea. There's some little lemon balm that's trying to make it. This rose is Katy Road Pink, which makes awesome big rose hips. And there's some developing there. I'm excited about that. This is my mullein. I have one mullein plant, but it won't be long. It'll be multiplied everywhere over here in this corner. I just finished harvesting some of the leaves and the flowers. So this mullein plant, when it flowers, what it does is it sporadically opens up and blooms. So it's not all the flowers aren't on here at one time. It's just going to sporadically pop open blooms. So I'm going to come out here every day and harvest some flowers. This is marshmallow, which is in the hibiscus family. And I just saw a hummingbird on this a few minutes ago. And there's some fennel back there that I'm growing, bronze fennel. Down there is the watermelon and corn patch. Corn's done. We've harvested all the corn. The watermelon is ready. So we've got to get down there today and get those watermelons harvested. Okay, let's look at this bed. I'm gonna just leave this empty for right now. I'm gonna come in and broad fork it a little bit, add some compost to it, and get it prepared for fall planting. There's my okra, which is doing amazing. We have got so much okra this year. Look at these beautiful blooms. So okra is in the hibiscus family, and the blooms are gorgeous. Here's one here, needs to be picked. I've got to come out and cut again today. Every day I'm harvesting okra. Our favorite way to eat okra, of course, is fried, because I'm in Alabama. I am a southern girl and we like fried okra. But we don't really eat a lot of fried foods. So my favorite way to prepare the okra that's healthy is to just slice it, just like you would if you were gonna fry it. Put it on a cookie sheet and drizzle it with olive oil and salt and pepper, or any herbs, anything like that you want to do. But usually I just use sea salt and pepper and olive oil, and just kind of use my hands and mix it all up really good so that the okra is all covered in oil. Then I put it in the oven at like 400, sometimes 425, because we like it real crispy. Leave it in there and just let it cook until the okra gets really crispy. And it's almost like eating fried okra. It's really, really good. And it's a lot healthier than eating fried okra. So that's how we do it. We've been eating a lot of that. But all this is okra. And it's doing really good. More zinnias. I tried to put just patches of zinnias and different flowers all throughout the garden spaces. Look at my olives on my olive tree. Okay, this bed is sweet potatoes, and I had pole beans here. We ripped those off earlier, and I planted some more seed because I'd like to have some more green beans, but I don't think that they're coming up. It was old seed, and they're not coming up. So I might just, I don't know if I'm gonna try again or if I'm gonna leave this and plant some peas on here, like some snap peas, sugar peas. It's still just a little bit early for me to do that, but I might leave this space for those. All of these are my sweet potatoes, so I'm gonna try to dig a little spot and let's see if they're ready. Let's see here. Let's find where my heel started. Right there. Let's see. I love digging potatoes. It's so exciting. It's just such a mystery because you can't see what's going on with root crops. It's under the ground and you can't really see what's going on, and then when you dig it up, it's just a miracle. The magic is happening under there. Oh yeah, look. Oh yeah. Awesome. Look at these. Now, some of them aren't developed yet. Not big enough yet. That one is. So I think I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer. There's some deeper in there. They're still not quite big enough yet. I'm gonna wait just a little bit longer. So sweet potatoes are anywhere from 90 to 120 days. And like I said, I'm right around 110 to 115 that they've been in the ground. I planted them April the 18th. And so I'm almost at 120 days. I think I'm just gonna leave them right up until my 120 days, and then I'm gonna harvest. But they're looking awesome. I don't see any bug damage. They look awesome. We're gonna have a lot of sweet potatoes. I'm super excited about this because last year I grew some sweet potatoes and I planted them a little bit late. I harvested them a little bit too late and just had a lot of bug damage. And we didn't even get to eat any of those sweet potatoes. I was super upset about that, but I think this year it's looking like we're gonna have an awesome crop of sweet potatoes. I'm excited. We eat a lot of sweet potatoes. Sun hemp is a summer crop. It's more of a tropical crop. In fact, in some areas, more tropical zones, this is considered invasive. But for us, it's not cold tolerant, so it dies every winter. And it's not invasive for us at all. So we grow this as our summer cover crop. Look how tall it's got. You're really not supposed to let it get this tall. You're really supposed to chop and drop it and keep it young. Keep it chopped, keep it dropped. That's what brings that nutrients into your soil. But I've been letting this get tall. Just this one section, I've been chopping and dropping those two beds and half of this bed. But this bed, I've just been letting it get tall because of these blooms. Look at those beautiful flowers it makes. And the honeybees love it. They adore it. So I just wanted to leave some for them. Plus I'm cutting on this as fodder to feed my animals. But this fall we'll be chopping all of this down. It'll die out, add nutrients to the soil, build the soil up in these beds, and I'll be planting another cover crop, a fall and winter cover crop in these beds then. Probably gonna mostly be doing my daikon radishes and brassicas and probably maybe some clovers in here. And that will just really help to continue to build up the nutrients in this soil. These are my grapes on my arched trellis. They're doing really good. It's gonna be so pretty when those get covered. Let's look at this bed. This bed is not a very good looking bed, but it's okay because it's not long and I'm gonna be planting this for the fall. So right here, I just sowed some more calendula seed. I've got a rosemary there. I sowed some more zinnias here and borage. I've got my little chamomiles doing pretty good under there. These are all Miss Cream peas. They're getting going pretty good. I've been harvesting some of those, and I didn't really have a lot of seed to plant, but I just wanted to try them. So I've just been harvesting what comes up and adding it to my purple hull peas. This is the first time I've planted these little Roma bush beans. I just had some seed from somewhere, so I planted them. And I really don't like them that much. When they do make a bean, they make like a little green bean, but it's curled up. And I don't know, I'm just not a fan of this. And it's not making a lot of beans. Like, I'm getting flowers, but I never really get too many beans. So I don't know what the deal is with this bean, but I'm not a fan of it. I probably won't be planting this one again. And this is my okra that was supposed to be climbing okra, which it's not climbing okra. But look at this okra pod. It's kind of different. It's kind of like thin and long. It's different looking than most of my other okra, so I really don't even know what kind it is. This was that seed that my dad and my father-in-law got from that tobacco farmer that time. And they said it was like a vine climbing up something, and it was supposed to be climbing okra, but it's not climbing, but it's making a different kind of okra pod, but it tastes good. So if anybody knows what this kind of okra might happen to be, or if you've ever seen it, give me a comment, let me know. This is some butternut squash. I planted it late. I should have plenty of time to get it and harvest it. You can see my little baby butternuts in here. We love butternut squash. There you go. Here's a bigger one here. I like to roast the butter, chop it up in cubes and roast it and add it with quinoa and kale. I like to do the rutabagas that way too. I don't have a lot of them in here, but we'll get a few out of it. And in this bed, I've got rosemaries here. I'm trying to make like a little hedge of rosemary right here along this edge. I need to come harvest some and dry it so I can have it to cook with this winter. But I've got lots of peppers out here. I've been harvesting a lot of bell peppers and poblano peppers. I've still got my amaranth out here, and my bell peppers are still looking good and healthy. No flea beetle damage. Flea beetle damage on the amaranth, but not on the peppers. Great trap crop. This is my Alabama red okra, and it's different. It's a little fat pod and red. So pretty though. The stems of this Alabama red okra is beautiful. The blooms and the okra is pretty too. Now when you cook it, it just turns green like the rest of it, and it tastes really good. They're just little fat okra pods. And this is all my Clemson spineless that I kind of succession planted, so I'll keep having okra. Right here in this little corner, I just sowed some more calendula and a few zinnias in there. And you can see those empty spaces. That's where I took out some celery. I planted it a little late in the spring, and it just never did anything. It looked terrible, so I took it out, and I took out the eggplants. The eggplants were still producing, but honestly, we really don't even like eggplants. And I don't know why I grow them. I have no idea. You know, I just feel like I need to grow eggplants every summer. I don't know why. But anyway, so I went ahead and took those out. They weren't looking too good anymore. So let's walk over here to my garden shed and let me show you the seeds that I've got started for mostly my brassicas and my cruciferous vegetables. I got all those things seeded this week. So I'm excited I got that done. Here they are. Excuse the hose pipe laying everywhere. It's kind of a mess, but these are my seeds that I've got done. And right now I just kind of got them in a shade until they get going good. And then as the seedlings start coming up, I'll move them out where they get a little more sun. But I've got, there's Brussels sprouts, there's broccolis, 2 different kinds. There's Chinese cabbage, pak choy, and cauliflower. There's red acre cabbage and Copenhagen cabbage. And here's a flat of more calendula. Now I direct sowed some calendula seed, but I also am growing some in trays. And over here I have my Brussels sprouts, rutabagas. Now I did 2 flats of rutabagas. So my rutabagas, they're root vegetables, and really root vegetables don't like to be transplanted too much. They're really better if you just direct sow them. But this past spring, all I did was 5 rutabaga plants. I picked them up from work that Shelly had grown in the greenhouse, and they were just, you know, small established plants in a pot, and brought them home and planted them, and they did really, really well as a transplant. So I have plenty of rutabaga seeds, so I decided what I would do is I'd try it both ways. So I've done 2 flats of rutabaga seed trays here, and I've done some directly sown in the garden. So I'm just gonna see how it goes, see which one works best, and if they all work, awesome. The more rutabagas, the better for us. Okay, I've got some cauliflower. I've got different kinds of a couple of different things. Here's more broccoli. This is rapini. More rutabagas. That one's purple top, and this other one was Eleanor, improved Eleanor. And this is a baby Napa cabbage. And let me see what this one was. And that is baby pixie cabbage. Now look, I've already got little seedlings coming up. I mean, I just did these like 2 days ago, I think. 3 days ago. My little broccoli seeds are coming up. And my baby Napa cabbage is coming up. Yay, success. So that's just a little brief tour of what's going on in my potager garden right now. So later on this afternoon, we're going to get in the watermelon patch and pick the watermelons. We're going to get in the orchard and pick all the pears. And tomorrow, we're going to go pick up our new addition to the farm. We're super excited about that. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for joining this garden tour collaboration with Homesteaders of America. Go back to the Homesteaders of America video and click on the description and go check out the other YouTube creators and homesteaders that are joining this collaboration. And again, thank you so much for watching. God bless you, and I'll catch you on the next video.